I was a closet alcoholic. You know, I would go home and sit alone and drink.
I felt helpless, hopeless, useless, untalented.
I was addicted to heroin for like 6 years.
Teen heartthrobs, then and now. Donny Osmond's Panic Attacks.
If I had a choice to go on stage or die, I would have chosen death.
David Cassidy's battle with the bottle and why he hid in his room for months.
I understand what that's like to have a feeling of no hope. I felt it. I felt the darkness.
The story behind Sean Cassidy's family feud and how he reacted when his career hit rock bottom.
It's real easy to get locked into a mold, and everybody's trying to say this is who you are.
Davy Jones. We've got his original screen test and how monkey mania drove him to hide from his fans.
It was a very lonely time for me during the Monkees.
One Monkey's alcoholic collapse and Mickey Dolenz claim that he got high with a Beatle.
We just sat and hung and like smoked this massive, great thing.
Leif Garrett's life-threatening drug abuse.
I wasn't able to get out of bed in the morning without using. I mean, it got that bad.
Bobby Sherman's discovery by an Oscar-winning sex symbol.
Jane Fonda saw me at a party, thought I was really good.
Why Kirk Cameron had trouble facing his fame.
You feel like you're growing up in sort of a fishbowl and that everybody is watching you.
Scott Baio's big ego.
I thought I was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
From the heartthrobs of the past to the hunks following in their footsteps, it's whatever happened to your favorite teen idols.
Having to be perfect, and it can kill you.
Give it one more try before you give up on love.
This is Entertainment Tonight, the most watched entertainment news program in the world.
Hello and welcome to the weekend edition of Entertainment Tonight.
Ricky Nelson was one of the first TV teen idols. His career began at the age of 12 on his parents' sitcom, Ozzie and Harriet.
Bobby Sherman was one of the biggest teen idols of his day, and his good looks won him countless magazine covers. But oddly enough, Bobby never dreamed of Hollywood. He wanted to be a child psychologist until an Oscar winner sent him on the road to stardom.
Just hanging around, taking it slow.
In the swinging 60s, during the height of the British invasion, Bobby Sherman was a homegrown heartthrob. At age 21, the native Californian was asked to sing at a party and was discovered by one of the biggest stars in Hollywood.
Jane Fonda saw me at a party, thought I was really good, and I guess said something to someone that then I ended up getting an audition that was then a show called Shindig that I did for 2.5 years.
Shindig launched his singing career, where he sold 10 million records with a number of top 10 hits. He then turned to acting and had a starring role on the ABC series Here Come the Brides. Soon, Bobby was the country's #1 pinup boy, posing shirtless for a number of teen magazines. But he says he took his career very seriously, and he didn't like being stereotyped.
Even though I had that classification as a bubblegummer or a teenage idol, you know, that had as much merit as, you know, only to whoever wanted to believe that.
Here they come, here they go. All right.
Bobby was on a tremendous roll at the end of the decade. After shooting his TV series all week, he'd take to the road to sing.
Greatest times in the world. I've made a lot of really good friends throughout the country who are still friends, who are devoted. I don't want to use the word fans, they really are friends. And half of my career was based on our concerts that would go. I felt like I wasn't going to do a concert to make money, I was going to go see my friends. And it was, we had a great time.
But when his show business career faded away in the mid-70s, Bobby says he led a comfortable life because he had saved all his money. He turned to helping others by becoming a volunteer emergency medical technician and helped to save lives. Unlike other former teen idols who lost much of their fortune and escaped into drugs or alcohol, Bobby found that performing a valuable service kept him in check.
You just have to search your own soul and basically figure out what you want to do with your life and kind of shoot for it. But and in the interim, don't say, well, I'll just take a little time off and you know, drug out or something like that kind of thing. It's just a waste, total waste. We've seen enough of those.
In 1998, Bobby joined up with Davy Jones of the Monkees and Peter Noone of Herman's Hermits for a Teen Idols tour, and he found that his loyal fans were still clamoring to see him.
I had to find myself in time. Now I can start all over again.
He says many of his fans stuck with him for more than 30 years because he always conducted himself properly.
It's a tremendous responsibility. I mean, we were in charge of kids that were, fans that were 13, 14 years old, and you got to watch out what you do. I mean, because anything you say might, in fact, send them off in the wrong direction. They're kind of like clones, and you have to be careful.
Divorced with 2 sons, Bobby also has a production company and develops television projects. He teaches CPR to the Los Angeles Police Academy and says he's always flattered when accident victims recognize him, even when he's with them at the hospital.
I kept thinking the head nurses are going to throw me out because I'm causing them. I was the only EMT that ever had autographs.
Smile. You're on Candid Camera.
No, we're not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, E.T.
Bobby says he's delivered quite a few babies on his EMT job. As a matter of fact, one woman was so grateful she named her newborn girl Roberta in his honor.
Coming up on Entertainment Tonight's Whatever Happened to Your Favorite Teen Idols?
Scott Baio's inflated ego over his overnight success.
My head got big. It has to.
Donny Osmond's sudden fall from fame.
I came from selling out arenas to playing high school gyms.
Competition between Davy Jones and Mickey Dolenz.
He got all the girls on the show. I got all the girls off the show.
Their friendly fights over who would score with the fans.
That's next. To Entertainment Tonight's Whatever Happened to Your Favorite Teen Idols? Parker Stevenson starred with Sean Cassidy on the 1970s series The Hardy Boys. Today, he's divorced from Kirstie Alley and working as an actor and director.
It's a success story worthy of a Hollywood movie. 2 siblings who both became the top teen idols of their day.
But for David and Sean Cassidy, fame came with a price. And years after they rose to stardom, Sean is at the center of a family feud, while David bears emotional scars from a grim battle with substance abuse.
I was a closet alcoholic. I would go home and sit alone and drink. From 1976 to 1980 were the darkest years of my life, and I spent a lot of them. I don't remember a lot of it because I spent a lot of it trying to get numb. I spent it getting inebriated. For me, the need to numb the experience because reality was really too painful.
David's painful times began just 2 years after the end of his primetime success as a member of the Partridge Family. When that show left the air, his life took a dark turn with a series of tragedies, including the death of his father.
I understand what that's like to have a feeling of no hope. I felt it. I felt the darkness when I lost my dad, I lost my career, I lost everything. I left it, and suddenly the world that I knew was gone. And I sat in my room for 9 months. I went, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to sit here until something comes to me.
David fell victim to typecasting in the years that followed his Partridge days, and he says it was difficult to avoid feelings of hopelessness.
You have to know I'm sick inside. I want to get well. And for me, it was about, I don't want to live another day in this kind of hell, feeling this kind of pain, feeling this kind of loss.
Suddenly, the charismatic star who once wooed millions of teenage fans with his music felt isolated and alone.
I understood, maybe 10 years ago, when the hysteria that Michael Jackson and his lifestyle, what it became, I understood it like very few people. I talked to John Lennon about this. There's a handful of people in the world that really understand what that's like, where you can't go anywhere, you can't walk down the street, and where they're selling your garbage. It makes you very paranoid. It keeps you inside, and it hides you from the world. And for me, I became more and more frightened that if I revealed who I was, that people wouldn't love me.
With the help of professional therapy, David finally triumphed over alcohol and began a comeback that was ignited by a stint on Broadway with the only performer in the world who could truly understand his plight.
It's hard to find 2 actors who've actually had dolls made after them to put on the same stage, but in this case they managed to do that. So.
They played blood brothers on Broadway, but in real life, Sean Cassidy was David's half-brother.
He was brought up with my father and Shirley in Los Angeles.
Same father, different mother.
Yeah. Contrary to public opinion, Shirley is not my mother.
Of course, Shirley is David's TV mom, Shirley Jones, who wasn't happy when she heard that her son Sean wanted to follow his half-brother into show business.
Oh, it was torment. I was very unhappy that Sean chose that route. I said, I want you to go to college. Go to school. If you want to do that after college, then do it. No, David did it, I can do it. Why should I go to college?
And Sean was right. He did do it, finding success as a recording artist and as one of TV's Hardy Boys, just 3 years after the Partridge Family left the air. Soon, these star siblings could share stories of fame that few brothers could even imagine.
It became very difficult for me to go anywhere. It was really the last gasp of innocence in America. Just to get to work, I'd have to take different routes. People would follow me home. I'd have to go in different gates because there were hundreds of people waiting by the gate for me to get in.
When something comes as big and as fast and as powerful as success came to me, it was like, how can you take something that unrealistic and believe it?
A lot of it was madness. You know, being in your 20s, being out of control, and being very, very famous. There were lots of women there. Were they naked? Yeah, sometimes they were. You know, I was 21 years old and doing what most 21-year-olds would have done. That is the truth of it.
But fame is fleeting, and both Cassidys suffered through painful career slumps.
It's real easy to get locked into a mold, and everybody's trying to say, this is who you are.
When it got bad for me, when it got cold and chilly, and Hollywood in particular rejected me, television rejected me, because I had created such an impact as that guy. When you become so fashionable, you have to fall out of fashion.
Sean was also forced to watch as his family life played out in the headlines. In 1999, when his mother temporarily separated from his stepfather, Marty Ingalls, Ingalls publicly blamed Sean for ruining the marriage.
I'm tired of step-parents taking the rap for bad relationships when sometimes there are stepchildren from hell. I was on the scene 22 years, taking care of everything, and he was there, and he took my help and my money. I supported all the kids for many years, my money. When he got independent, he decided to reclaim his mama.
Sean's publicist didn't return our call for comment, but despite the dark times, the brothers are pushing forward with their lives and careers. Sean is a successful TV writer and producer, and David is in the middle of a tour where he sings many of his greatest hits.
Hello, operator. Get me Echo Valley 26809, will you?
I still love singing I Think I Love You and I Woke Up in Love This Morning. If the work isn't fun when you're an entertainer, there's something wrong, and fortunately, it is.
Could there be another Cassidy destined for teen idol status? Well, David says his son Bo sings pretty well and he wants to be an actor, but he needs to know that having a famous name is no guarantee.
Coming up.